Let's take a look now at what's going on in Kenya at the markets there on the NSE 20 today. That market really marginal. It's really very little movement, 0.07% at 4,510.47 ahead of that election on Monday, as expected, because really this market has been resilient even as that election has come closer and closer, suggesting some kind of maturity as well as investor confidence in that Kenyan market before we see the results. Now, on the currency front, we've got the Kenyan shilling also stronger against the dollar, 85.85, and we did see very strong gains earlier this week, again built around that confidence and the belief that perhaps this time around Kenya is going to be different from the last time that we had elections in that country and we had violence, and people now saying that's unlikely to be the case. I'm certainly hoping that's the message that we hear now as we cross live to our studios in Nairobi, and we'll be joining Einstein Kihanda, his Chief Investment Officer at ICEA Asset Management. Einstein, I'm painting a picture here of a growing maturity of the Kenyan market as well as greater belief, at least by investors, in the Kenyan story and the fact that Kenya is likely to exhibit maturity in how they exercise their right to vote for the candidates of their choice. Is that the same story that you're getting when you look at the overall picture around the Kenyan market?
Yes, I think if you look at the trading that you've seen so far, the market is down marginally, but if you look at the volume of trades today, it's actually doubled since compared to what happened yesterday. So there's increasing confidence in terms of the market. If you look at market activity, I think also the earnings announcements. Yesterday we had quite a number of companies announcing their end-year results, and generally you can see there's it paints an optimistic picture. And I think that is a reflection of the fact that the economic environment, when you compare 2011 to 2012, there's been a significant improvement. And I think with regard to the elections, I think a lot of investment has been made in terms of trying to get the issues about having a peaceful election and basically laying the framework for a peaceful election. And Kenyans, I think, are ready to exercise their democratic right in a peaceful manner.
Yeah. What's been the turning point, do you think? Because I've been trying to fish out of all the people that we've been talking about what's really that one thing that has seen such a sea change in terms of sentiment. Is it the Constitution? Because for me, that Constitution was very impressive indeed, because it took away some of the presidential powers that many people believed were behind some of the instability that we saw after the last election.
I think I can take you back maybe 5 years ago to exactly the incidents that drove us to the country to the point of a very difficult point, and I think it shocked a lot of Kenyans that we were actually capable of getting to a point where we can have significant disruptions. So I think for a lot of Kenyans, none of them want to go back, ever want to get back to that kind of a situation. And we've also seen the fact that we have had very many peace rallies, particularly over the last weekend. But I think the fundamental framework, I think, has been the Constitution, which brought in a reformed judiciary, and also the fact that the powers of the president, as you rightly correct, have been eroded, and therefore the kind of winner-takes-it-all approach is actually not as significant as it was in previous times. So I think a lot of it has to do with the new constitution.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the differences between the candidates and what's that likely to mean for market sentiment going forward. Have you heard anything between the two of them that suggests that one or the other, or they are all the other players in it? I know there are 8 people who are running, but many people are saying essentially we're talking about a 2-horse race. Is there anyone between them who is likely to be more friendlier to the markets than the other?
I think in terms of credentials, I'd start off by, with regard to as you said, there are 2 front runners. Uhuru Kenyatta until sometime last year was the finance minister. So I think in terms of familiarity with the key aspects of the markets, I would say has those credentials. But Raila Odinga has also been the prime minister and has also been involved quite a bit with the business community in terms of various initiatives ever since the Grand Coalition government was formed in 2008. So he's also been involved in terms of overseeing a lot of the government affairs. So both candidates have actually been involved in government at various levels, have significant interactions with the business community, and therefore, I think those are some of the factors that make it a very close and tight race in terms of being able to determine who is the clear winner.
So in essence, really you're saying whoever comes through, it really doesn't matter. The market is likely to embrace whoever wins this election. Let's move into the stocks. As you said,
Yes.
we have seen a slew of results, and the bulk of those results has been positive. Let's talk perhaps about your sort of outstanding numbers that you have seen so far come through this week.
I think I'd start with the banking sector. We've actually seen some very strong results from Equity Bank, from Kenya Commercial Bank, from Coop Bank. And I think in the background of the context of the very high interest margins that were prevailing in the financial markets last year, all these banks were able to report very strong results. And we've also seen in the same context the ability to also manage their non-performing loans within a very difficult economic environment. So I think those stand out for me. We've also seen in the manufacturing sector, British American Tobacco also reporting fairly stable earnings, but actually increasing their dividend payout, and that has therefore, ensured that the company continues to maintain a record of having one of the highest dividend payouts that we've seen in this market.
Fantastic. One final thought. Kenya, this is Ken Kobil now. Puma from Sweden has terminated those talks, and I would imagine that stock is under pressure now, really.
Yes, I think a lot of the activity that we saw in Ken Kobil and the upsurge in the prices was premised on the fact that there will be a successful takeover by Puma. And now that there's been an announcement with regard to the fact that the talks have been terminated, that may have an impact in terms of the performance of the of the share price, especially when you look at the half-year results that were announced a few months ago, and therefore that premium that was there as a result of the expectation of the takeover is no longer there. So I think the company now it have to be trading on its own fundamentals going forward.